Oh, hi, everybody. Now, that may sound unfamiliar to you in there, because while you poor wretches have been stuck with the Pistons, there is real basketball played elsewhere. Paul Saranos, noted Miami Heat fan. Don't get on him. He's a native Floridian. Kenny Cott does not acknowledge basketball as a sport. The reasons behind it are detestable. But look, we are going to have... We are going to... And by the way, it is Floral Friday.
It is.
Which Rico did not participate in. So listen.
Well, it was cloudy and like 60 degrees. So
It's
Kenny
okay.
told me it has to be over 70.
But you wanted to start with something. See, we could try this. And we have a Kenny Cott media report at 3 o'clock. But we are going to start with something different. And Lord knows, I don't know if it'll work. I have my doubts. But based off of the NBA Finals, which are a big deal or used to be a big deal or something people would pay attention to even if you didn't watch basketball all year, but you want to relate it to the Pistons.
Mike, it's very simple. When you watched the game last night, and I'm not even just talking the Celtics, I'm also looking at the Mavericks. That's two different games that they're playing, what you see here down at Little Caesars Arena. This team is nowhere close.
They're not in the same planet, Rico.
And then it really hit home in the pre-show meeting when you were like, yeah, you know what? Cade probably be the 7th man on Boston. It was like, well, no, wait.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't playing over Derek White.
Yeah.
He's not playing over Drew Holiday. He's not playing over the Jays. And he's not playing over Porzingis, who's the first man off the bench if Porzingis starts, Al Horford, or vice versa. He's not a top 6 player. So here's the question. Why the hell would you extend him for $270 million?
Brother,
You don't even have a pathway to becoming one of these teams.
no. The only pathway you have is to try to get a king's ransom for Cade and just kind of hit that reset button. Because all the other surrounding pieces really aren't that good, but he's your only valuable commodity that you have that other teams will say, you know what, we'll take him, we'll pair him up with players X and Y, and now we have our own little big 3. So, yeah, if you're it really just, it clarified itself to me, you got to move him.
You had an epiphany.
Yeah, it was, they're light years away from just, not just being competitive, but like that was like watching your Celtics. I told you, man. I think that they'll trip up and lose.
I know.
One, like good Kyrie will show up in Dallas.
Don't say that.
Well, one game, and then you'll get to watch him win it all in game 5.
I hate Kyrie's guts. And the whitewashing by the media last night was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, he's working on his Buddhism. I mean, go to hell. The guy's been a career cancer. Just say it.
Right, but Pistons fans, 248-539-9797. If you're watching the NBA Finals, did you see what I saw? And I don't see how you cannot move Cade. You can't extend him because to me that is not the alpha dog. That is not the piece you need to build around. You got to go out there and you got to get more pieces because you're nowhere close to what I saw championship level basketball.
Let's see if we can come together on something. Did last night's game 1 send the same message to you that it sent to Rico Beard? That Trajan Langdon, I mean, obviously, this Monty Williams thing has got to shake out. Eventually, we'll see if Trajan Langdon's a real person and not just a chat GPT creation. But is the only way out for the Pistons actually, as counterintuitive as it sounds, trading your best player? That you're not in the same planet as these teams. And frankly, look, I think it's fair to say this. I'm not as hard on Cade as some people are, but I'm also not as optimistic as I was when he was a rookie. He could end up being a very nice player, but he is never going to be Luka. He's never going to be Tatum. He's never going to be Brown, i.e., he's never going to be an all-NBA type player. Mm-hmm. So without that, why would you pay him like one?
Right.
I do wonder. And listen, I know.
And
I know, guys. I know. Work with me.
I'll say this. For those out there thinking I'm hating on Cade, I'm actually not. I'm paying him a compliment because he's your only valuable piece. That's why I say you have to get rid of him, because I don't think people are going to be lining up for Ivy or Duren or any of the other players on the team. No. But for Cade, you pick up the phone and you say he's available. Other teams will say, okay, what do you want for him? Let's make a deal. Hey, I got beef stew. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
Sorry. I needed to be able to do that once this segment.
Brother, you can do it all day.
No. It's game one. I lived this. I lived it when we played the Warriors 2 years ago.
That's not Steph Curry on the other side.
I know, but Lucas, listen, that game got down to 8. Celtics were up by 29, fell asleep before the half, and I got upset. And then when that got down to 8 in the third quarter, I admit it, it was same old Spartans.
You know what?
It was Saban's Spartans for me. I go, here we go again.
Here's the difference, Mike. This is where Luka may want to take the offseason to get into better shape, because he's going to just flame out.
Yeah, and his knee, something's up with his knee. He's dealing with a big-time knee problem.
So you're going to be okay.
I hope so. But I think it's interesting it had that impact on you. Now, listen, I mean, if ESPN is right, you weren't watching the NBA Finals, and you were watching the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky.
Or you were watching the concert down at the train station.
Sure. The point is, did game one of the NBA Finals, as it would relate to our basketball team here locally, where we have a new team president, we have a new general manager, we're probably going to have a new coach. I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable saying that. And Trajan Langdon is going to have to figure out right off the rip, is Cade Cunningham good enough to be the alpha dog on a championship team? Because if he's not, get rid of him. There's no point.
You can't extend him.
No, because, again, you end up like Atlanta, paying Trae Young all that money, when Trae Young at his best, will be a Robin to a Batman that has not appeared yet.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. So Rico is saying last night was jarring for him. Not because of the obvious, but because both teams.
Brother, the thing is, when will you finally just admit this is your year and that this Celtics team may be one of those special teams? I don't think that you could say that because you're expecting a collapse at any moment. Because I kind of laughed when the league got cut down. I'm like, you know what? Let's go to a cut scene live at the Valenti compound as you were throwing things at the screen. Because I can only imagine. You were on the phone with Big G, like, what is this?
There were some emotional texts sent back and forth. No, it was just, I think, hold home serve, get up 2-0, and then Dallas has, look, the math on that, is Dallas really going to be able to take 4 of the next 5?
All you got to do is keep hitting Kyrie with that 2-piece combo you had last night.
Yeah, defense.
He was right. He was not ready for that. That ain't Ant-Man.
But here's the thing too, right? Even if you comp out the Pistons' future to last year, look, the Denver Nuggets are not going to go down in history as one of the all-time great teams to win it. Nor were they a team that was filled with some of the star power, right? Like, Jokic is an all-NBA player. Jokic is modern Shaq. Now, beyond that, if you want to downplay guys like Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr., you can do whatever you want to do. But you still need, would Cade Cunningham be Jamal Murray? The whole premise of it is, without a pathway to acquiring the all-NBA type player, you are not winning anything. Here's what I don't want. Please do not waste our time. I mean, it's like when Gibby called the other day. I don't want to hear stories from 84. I don't want to hear them from 2004. You were scoring 70 points and beating teams. If you can't tell that the sport moved on, don't participate in the discussion. Now, defense definitely plays a role, but it's going to be, can I hold someone under 100? Not 90, not 80, and sure as HELL hell, not 70.
I rewatched that game. Every possession counted from the opening tip. Let's just put it like that.
But if you had the epiphany that Mr. R.L. Beard had last night, isn't there only one mortal certainty? You got to trade Cade, right? I mean, if you don't trade Cade, what is the pathway to acquiring an all-NBA player? What's the pathway to building a team out?
The pathway is that then Trajan Langdon has to come in and do something that the previous regime could not do and find that player with the 5th pick, or that is actually becomes that all-world player, that one that's buried deep in the draft, but it requires a little luck and a little homework to find. You have to go out and find your Giannis, your Steph Curry, that person that wasn't taken one. That you just knew, okay, that's Wembayama was easy.
So can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
And again, we're just talking.
We're here to 6-10.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're not talking about machete violence, but we're attempting to do something here with the finals. Let's say Rico's pathway is true, guys. Let's say Trajan Langdon's really, really sharp. Let's say he's damn near he's Bob Myers or Sam Presti. At a minimum, the finding of players, let's say you make a shrewd free agent signing, and it's cheap. Let's say it turns into Derek Green Jr. for the Mavs, a veteran minimum who ended up starting. Mm-hmm. Let's say you find a guy. All right, you find your Maxi Kleba. You go out and are able to procure a Tim Hardaway Jr. later in the first round. Fine. That's about 3 years that it would take to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Cade's eligible for his extension now. And none of what Rico's talking about, albeit true, and it gets you to be fun and you can win some games. Last I checked, we want to win a championship. If you don't believe trading Cade is the right move after watching last night, what is? Because I just have personal doubts that a core of Cade, Brandon Ingram, and Tobias Harris is raising a banner. 248-539-9797. So let's start out with that. Have a little fun. I mean, obviously, we're not going to make today inside the NBA, but we could start with it, make it local.
For those who watched it, yeah, it just was sobering, realizing we're a long way away from this.
Oh, Kenny, wait. You ready? This is exciting. And there's one key thing about last night's game that really shows you how effed up the Pistons are, and I'll tell you about it next.